Hello, and welcome back to the Save It for Parts channel. As you've probably noticed from the background in my home office, I have an interest in maps and cartography. I also have an interest in history, and especially mining history. One thing that I've always been interested in are the three-dimensional maps of mines made with alternating glass sheets. You can sometimes find these in mining museums. Now, I recently found a box of small glass plates, and I thought to myself, I bet I could make a map with these. So I have about 9 of these glass sheets, and I looked around online and I found a map of a mine with approximately 9 levels. It's a pretty simple mine. It's a good thing to start with to test out the feasibility of doing these on my own. So to start out, I imported some of these historic mining maps into my image editing program, and I went ahead and traced out some of the different levels as raster images. So now I can try to print out each of these levels on a separate sheet, trace them onto the glass, and then layer them into some sort of frame to make a three-dimensional image. This is kind of the old-fashioned way of 3D modeling, and this is something that they did back in the late 1800s and early 1900s when the mine engineers wanted to see what a mine actually looks like underground. All right, I've got each level printed out. So I've got my glass plates here, and these guys are approximately 6 inches by 6 inches. I don't know what they were for originally. I've just got them hoarded from some other junk pile. And I've printed out each level about 6 inches by 6 inches. So I should be able to just trace these on. And I'm thinking about using colored markers to trace. And that way I can use the different colors for different features or labels, or some of the flooded levels I can do in blue, something along those lines. I'm gonna clean some of the dust off of these because they've been sitting in this box for who knows how long. All right, I had 9 sheets of glass, and I had 8 levels plus the surface. However, there's also a 9th level, which is the sump or pit at the bottom of the mine shaft. And for that, I'm going to draw it on this scrap of opaque plexiglass, and then I can put a light behind this and have the entire stack lit up from below. So this was a good test and a good mock-up of my system, but I don't actually like the way this looks. I don't like the way that these nuts and washers look, and my elevation is all wrong. So I'm going to take this apart, and I'm going to make a wooden frame, which is probably what I should have done to start with, but I wanted to see how it actually looked lit up from the bottom and spaced out a little more. So let's take this apart and go on to a wooden framed version. Well, I've redone this with a wooden frame. It's still not perfect. I had a little trouble cutting some of these slots out with the table saw, so some of them are a little chipped, but maybe I'll cover it with some trim or something. Now this whole thing weighs about 10 pounds, even though it's pretty small. I might do a larger one of these at some point with some bigger glass shelves, but I would have to dedicate some sort of furniture in the house for that. Okay, I've probably spent too long on this little glass mind map already, and I have a bunch of other projects on my to-do list, so I'm going to set this aside for now. Maybe I'll put it inside and use it as a little lamp. I've closed off the front so you can't see my battery light, and if I throw a plug-in light in there, then it'll look a little nicer. This was just a pretty simple mine that I found some maps of online. It looked like it would fit within my little 6x6 square, and it mostly did. There were a few levels that kind of go off to the side farther, but most of this mine map fit within a 6-inch by 6-inch square. Okay, I did one more little improvement. I put some corner trim on here, and maybe we'll eventually stain or paint or seal this whole thing, but I think I'm going to leave it for now. I'm going to say this one's done for now. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for whatever we come up with next. And as always, feel free to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.